staff, and members of the public. I now call the Committee of Adjustment meeting for March 12th, 2026 to order. As this meeting is also being held virtually, I will remind you that the meeting is being recorded and streamed live via the County of Brant YouTube account. We do have a member online tonight, so I will go through this. Should a connection service interruption occur that affects quorum of the committee, a recess for up to 15 minutes may occur. If quorum is not achieved, the meeting is adjourned. Applicants, agents, owners, and delegations may also participate virtually. Please ensure that your screen displays your name correctly, your camera is off, and your microphone is on mute until called upon to speak. Any public delegation will have 10 minutes to speak to the current application. Any members of the public attending in person must complete the sign-in sheet in order to receive notification. If you speak on any item, please come to the podium and speak into the microphone and understand that your name will appear in the meeting minutes. If you wish to receive a copy of the committee's decision, please contact the County of Brant Planning Department. This meeting is held in accordance with the provision of the Planning Act, which requires notice of the public information meeting and the public notice sign to be posted. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss minor variance and consent applications and provide those in attendance the opportunity to provide feedback. A copy of the meeting agenda with all related materials is available on the County of Brant website. Once the presentations, public hearing, and question period are complete for each item, if the committee deems it appropriate, they will make a decision which is final following the 20-day appeal period. The order of delegations are as follows: planning staff report and recommendation, applicant or agent presentation, questions and discussion, public comments, further comments or questions of clarification, and the decision. I'll now take attendance. Please indicate, members, that you are present by stating present when I call your name. Mary Jane Brown, present. Harry Emmett is not present nor online. Bob Hamilton.
Present.
Jane Penag.
Present.
Rebecca Smith.
Present.
Steve Schmidt.
Present.
John Vamus.
Present.
Thank you. We'll now move to item 2, approval of the agenda. Do any members or staff have any items to be added to the agenda?
Thank you. Through the chair, staff does wish to add an item under other business to provide committee an update to a previously heard application.
Thank you. May I then request a mover and seconder? Member Schmidt, is there a seconder? Member Penag, can you please provide your motion?
Moved by myself and seconded by Member Penang that the agenda for the County of Brant Committee of Adjustment meeting of March 12, 2026 be approved with addition.
Thank you. Members, please indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with Member Schmidt.
Yes.
Member Vamus.
Yes.
Member Hamilton.
Yes.
Member Penag. Member Smith.
Yes.
And Brown, yes. The motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting has carried. It has now gone into record. Item 3, are there any members who would like to declare a conflict of interest for any items on the agenda tonight? Since there are none, we will now move to item 4, adoption of the minutes from the previous meeting of February 19th, 2026. Do any committee members have any errors or omissions to note? I don't see any. Can I please have a mover and seconder for adoption of the minutes? Member Hamilton? Seconder? Member Schmidt? Can I please have the motion?
Moved by myself and seconded by Member Schmidt that the minutes for the February 19th, 2026 meeting of the Committee of Adjustment be approved as printed.
Thank you. Members, please indicate if you are in favor, starting with Member Schmidt.
Yes.
Member Vamus,
Yes.
Member Hamilton,
Yes.
Member Penag, and Member Smith.
Yes.
And Brown, yes. The motion to adopt the minutes from February 19th, 2026 has carried. They're now in record. I will now introduce item 5.1 for application A26-25-AV and turn it over to staff for the presentation of the report and the presentation and the recommendation.
Good evening. This presentation is for minor variance application A2625AV submitted by the Angrish Group on behalf of the owner, Joseph Azevedo, for the property located at 350 Pleasant Ridge Road, and planning staff are recommending approval of this application. The subject lands are located east of Pleasant Ridge Road between Wetmorris Road and Birch Road outside of any settlement area. The property has approximately 30 meters of frontage on Pleasant Ridge Road and a total lot area of about 0.30 hectares. The lands currently contain a single detached dwelling with an attached garage, as well as a detached accessory structure, and are privately serviced by well and septic system. The surrounding area is predominantly agricultural in character with some scattered rural residential uses. The subject lands are designated agriculture in the County of Brant Official Plan 2023 and are zoned agriculture under zoning bylaw 6116. This application proposes relief from Section 6, Table 6.2.1 of the zoning bylaw. Specifically, the applicant is requesting a reduced interior side yard setback of 2.10 meters on the northern interior side lot line, whereas minimum of 4 meters is required. The variance is requested to facilitate the construction of a 25 square meters addition to the existing attached garage, which will allow for the creation of a mudroom and expanded garage space connected to the dwelling. All other zoning provisions, including lot coverage and building height, continue to be satisfied. So in reviewing this application, staff identified a few key considerations. First, the proposal does not introduce any new use and remains accessory to the existing dwelling. Second, the surrounding area is predominantly agricultural, and the modest garage addition is not expected to impact surrounding agricultural operations. Third, the nearest neighboring dwelling is located a considerable distance from the proposed addition, and the reduced setback is limited to one side of the dwelling. As a result, no adverse impacts related to privacy, drainage, or compatibility are anticipated. Fourth, although the setback is reduced, the proposal still maintains a minimum of 1.2 meters of space between the structure and the property line, which allows sufficient room for access and maintenance along the side of the dwelling. And finally, staff are satisfied that the proposal maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and that the application meets the fourth test of the Planning Act, with the variance considered minor in nature. Notice of this application was circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands on February 25th in accordance with the Planning Act. A public notice sign was posted on the property on February 24th, and a site visit was completed by staff on February 27th. As of today, no public comments or objections have been received. Planning staff are satisfied that minor variance application A2625AV meets the fourth test under Section 45, subsection 1 of the Planning Act. The requested relief represents a modest reduction in the interior side yard setback on one side of the dwelling to facilitate an addition to the existing attached garage. The proposal maintains the general intent and purpose of both the official plan and zoning bylaw and is compatible with the surrounding rural and agricultural context. So staff do not anticipate any adverse impact as a result of this variance. For this reason, staff recommend approval of minor variance application A2625AV. And thank you. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the presentation, Afsin. I'll ask the committee, do you have any comments or questions on this application for staff? Member Vamus, please go ahead.
Through the chair to staff, the existing well, is that going to be in the way of the new entrance to the garage? Like the garage door to drive in, isn't the well in the way?
Through the chair to the committee, it is not exactly on the driveway, but staff note that there is an existing dog well located near the proposed garage addition. So setbacks between buildings and wells are not regulated through the zoning bylaw or the Ontario Building Code. However, the well must remain accessible for maintenance, testing, and servicing. Staff have advised the applicant of these requirements, and they are aware that the garage door and driveway layout must maintain safe and unobstructed access to the well. So I believe it would be reviewed through the building permit stage by the building department.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions for staff? Then is the applicant or their agent present and wish to add? Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Afsun has done a great job in explaining the application. The purpose of this is to allow the addition to the existing house. There are some significant renovations that were needed inside the dwelling, so which will lead to an addition or expansion into the existing garage space of a mudroom and extending the garage further to the north of the property, which requires this minor variance, which is in front of you. With respect to the question related to the well by Member Vamus, the well is not going to interfere with the garage door for this expansion. And again, as mentioned, there will be, at the time of building permit, more additional details will be provided to ensure that the well is protected. I'm happy to answer any more questions if the members have.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions? Member Hamilton?
Through the chair to the applicant, I was out and took a look at the well and where it's at. By the time you add that addition coming over to allow for the minor variance to happen, it's going to be right in front of the well. My question to you, is there any concern, are you putting a foundation or is it just footings going in to maintain the addition? And secondary to that, the next question is, what is the applicant proposing to do to protect the well from contamination and things like that, or caving in when they're in there with machinery trying to dig out the foundation or footings that may exist for the addition?
Thank you for the questions through you, Madam Chair. It is going to be footings only. I'm looking at the building permit drawings that were prepared for the application. So there's going to be footings where this new addition is going to be. And then at the time of the construction, we will ensure that there's sufficient visible barriers that are placed in place to protect that existing well, because that is the main water supply for the house. So those things will be in place when the construction starts.
Okay, yeah, no, that's my concern. It's just the safety of the well, that if you bring in equipment to dig that out and everything else, we don't expect anything but an oops, and all of a sudden you've got yourself a major problem. So that's why what is being done, and I don't believe, and maybe staff can help me here, are there any things in the building permit to assist so there isn't a problem with this well getting contaminated?
Through Madam Chair, as Zafsoon mentioned in her response, the application, if approved, would effectively permit the reduced setback. The building addition would require a building permit, which would be reviewed by our building division, who could identify any conflicts or issues with separation or function of that well as a result of the addition.
Okay, yeah, because my concern is, I'm not concerned about the minor variance and shortening up, but it's still, when I looked at it, it's going to be probably less than 3 feet from the front of the addition to the well. And if anybody knows about wells, that's not a lot of room for any error. So it's a concern. I just wanted to understand and see what everybody has to say on it.
Through the chair to committee, I confirmed that with the building department, and they mentioned that there is no specific regulation for, limiting the distance between the well and the building or a structure. And also, I talked with the engineering department, and they mentioned that they do not have any requirements for that, and they even told me that they allow to have dog well within the garage. So this is the information that I have for now.
Okay, thank you. I've got concern of whoever the new homeowner is going to be, that they don't run into a situation. So now is the time to talk about it. It's not to talk about it after something's happened.
Through you, Madam Chair. Again, there will be a building permit that will be applied, and all the measures will be in place at the time of the construction as well. So through the building permit application, if there are additional measures that are identified by the building department, we will ensure that those are in place prior to the construction being started.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions to the agent?
Through the chair, my question is, Madam Chair, is the well being kept? Maybe they want to drill a well somewhere else and cap this one?
Through the Madam Chair, the well, there's no changes to the well that are being proposed or looked at this time. My understanding is this well serves the existing house and will continue to do that.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Member Vamus, please go ahead.
Through the chair to the applicant's agent, so the 1.9 meters that they want to encroach to the north there, that the neighbor owns that, has no objection, or is this applicant also own the property to the north?
Through the Madam Chair, the applicant does not own the farm to the north, and we did not receive any comments or questions from the neighbors when the application was circulated.
Thank you.
Any other? I had a question on, and it is to do with the well. Given that the current location of the well, when I look at the diagram, it looks like the new garage, you would have to drive over the well to get access to the garage. And I can't really read the detail, but to me it looks like the purpose of the minor variance is to do with renovations to give more living space. And it's Is that correct? They're moving living space into the garage area?
Through the Madam, through to you, Madam Chair, sorry. There's going to be a mudroom, and then that garage storage space is going to be expanded into this addition. There is an existing detached garage on that property as
Yes,
well.
I saw
So that will continue to be utilized for the vehicles and storage and all other pieces that are normal with the existing house.
Then my question from that, since you validated it's the mudroom, but was there any consideration given to flipping the addition and moving the garage to the south side of the building?
To you, Madam Chair, unfortunately, it would not work because the existing detached garage is behind the house, and if the addition is to the south side, that will hinder access to that, to that garage.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you. Any other comments, questions then? Then I guess I will open the public portion of this application. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to it? Since there are none, I will now close the public portion of this application. And then I'll ask the committee, are there any final questions or comments for staff or the agent? Since there are none, I will now request a motion from committee members. Member Hamilton, please state your motion.
I move that we accept minor application A 26-25-AV, seeking a seconder because it follows the County of Brant official plan and zoning bylaws, and it meets the 4 parts of a minor variance.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Member Schmidt. I'll now call the vote, starting with Member Schmidt.
Yes.
Member Vamus.
No.
Member Hamilton.
Yes.
Member Panag. Member Smith.
Yes.
And Brown, yes. The motion to approve application 826-25-AV has carried. The application has now been approved. I'll now introduce item 5.2 for application B33-25-AV and turn it over to staff for the presentation of the report.
I'm presenting a consent application B3325AV for the property municipality known as 63 McLean School Road. The application was submitted by MHBC Group on behalf of the owner, Chris Martin. This application proposes to sever a surplus farm dwelling from an existing agricultural parcel, and planning staff are recommending approval subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report. The subject lands are located north of McLean School Road, east of Branchstone Road, and south of Glen Morris Road East, with the former township of South Dumfries in the county of Brant. The property has approximately 262 meters of frontage on McLean School Road and a total area of 22.7 hectares. The lands currently contain one single detached dwelling, a detached workshop, a covered pool structure, and a small accessory structure associated with the pool. The existing structures are generally located within the lands proposed to be severed. However, one small accessory structure will be relocated to ensure it is fully within the severed parcel. The subject lot is irregular in shape and is privately serviced. The retained lands are currently being actively farmed. The subject lands are designated agriculture and natural heritage system in the 2023 official plan and are located outside any settlement area. The lands are currently zoned agriculture with portions also zoned natural heritage under the zoning bylaw 6116. This application proposes to sever a 0.63 hectare surplus farm dwelling lot with 91 meters of frontage on McLean School Road. The severed parcel will contain the existing dwelling, 3 accessory structures, with 1 accessory structure proposed to be relocated to ensure it is fully within the boundaries of the severed parcel and the existing well and septic system. The retained parcel will be approximately 22.2 hectares and will continue to be used for agricultural purposes. There are several key considerations related to this application. First, no prior residential severances has been granted from the subject lands since January 1, 1999, which satisfies the official plan requirements for surplus farm dwelling severances. Second, the retained lands will continue to operate as part of an active agricultural operation. As a condition of approval, the retained parcel will be rezoned to agricultural with a special exception, or A9. This zoning will prohibit any future dwelling units on the retained farmland, which helps protect the agricultural land base. In addition, no objections were received from circulated departments or agencies. And next, the existing dwelling has been confirmed to be surplus to the farming operation as a result of farm consolidation. The proposed severed parcel is limited to the minimum area necessary to accommodate the existing structures and services. In terms of environmental considerations, natural heritage features are located nearby, and the proposed severance lines have been designed to maintain protection of the natural heritage system. Staff recognize that a portion of the severed lands fall within the natural heritage system buffer identified in the official plan. However, existing accessory structures are already located within the buffer, and no new development is proposed through this application. As such, staff have no objections, and to ensure the long-term protection of the natural heritage features, staff recommend that permanent fencing be installed along the north and east property lines of the severed parcel to prevent any future encroachment into the natural heritage area. In addition, a condition is recommended requiring the applicant to complete an environmental impact study waiver assessment prepared by a qualified ecologist to confirm that the severance will not result in negative impacts to the adjacent core natural heritage feature. For this application, notice was circulated by mail to all property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands on February 25th. In accordance with the Planning Act, the public notice sign was posted on the property the same day, and site visits were conducted on November 27, 2025 and February 27, 2026. The application was circulated to internal departments and external agencies for review. No objections were received, and several recommendations have been included as conditions of approval. One comment was received from the owner of 62 McLean School Road, located across from the subject property. The comment noted the potential for future agricultural activities, including the possible construction of a livestock building, and requested that future residents be aware that normal farming practices may generate noise, odor, or other impacts typical of rural agricultural areas. Staff note that the dwelling already exists, and the proposed severance will not introduce new residential use to the area. As such, the minimum distance separation situation will remain unchanged, and any future agricultural development on neighboring properties would follow the same requirements as they do today. In conclusion, this application proposes to sever a 0.63 hectare surplus farm dwelling lot from the property at 63 McLean School Road, while the 22 hectare retained parcel will continue in active agricultural use. Key conditions of approval including rezoning the retained lands to A9 to prohibit future dwellings, completing an EIS waiver assessment, and installing fencing along the north and east property lines to protect the natural heritage system. Planning staff are satisfied that the proposal is consistent with the 2024 provincial planning statement, conforms to the County of Brant official plan, and complies with the zoning bylaw. For these reasons, staff recommend approval subject to the conditions outlined in the report. Thank you, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Afsoon, for the presentation. I'll ask committee members, do you have any questions for staff on this report? Member Hamilton?
Through the chair to staff, I see that the fire department has not put a request in here for any charge to it. I just want some consistency here because the next one that we're looking at is very similar from a surplus, and it does have it. So can you tell me why the fire department does not consider this one needing to have that fee put on this application for a surplus farm?
Through the chair to the committee, I believe the fire department determined that no new services are required for these lot severances, and because of this, no fee is required. But definitely we can consult with them again to ensure that there is no need for rural firefighting fee.
Okay, yeah, because if I look at the next one, I don't think there's any new services going into it either. Therefore, I'm still not seeing the difference between the two. They either both get it or they don't. So that's just a point for consistency. And I believe the county has changed the severed farm policy, or extra severances for surplus farm policy to include, and this has happened in the last 2 years, both the park development and the service. So is that the policy of the county at this time and the planning department to enforce, or has there been a change?
Through you, Madam Chair, there has been no change, and I recognize the inconsistency and we were discussing it prior to the meeting because we identified that the condition wasn't there. It was in one and wasn't the other. And as I've soon mentioned, if the committee is looking for some of that consistency, we can add the condition to allow us to consult with fire again to explain the situation with this type of application so that we can confirm whether or not it is required or not. And if it's not required, it won't be required, but the condition will be there at least to allow staff to consult.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions to staff on this? Member Smith, please go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair, my first question, I just want to confirm if I can have staff confirm that the owner of the subject lands owns other farms in the area.
Through the chair to the committee, yes, they own several other farmlands.
And then my second one is, I know it's a very small shed and it says on the drawing that it's going to be removed, but maybe just a recommendation that we might need to include a condition to ensure that small shed is relocated. Just a note to the committee. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Member Hamilton, please go ahead.
Through the staff to, through the chair to the staff, condition number 7 on the permanent fencing going on the east and north side. I've got no problem with that. My question is it going to be on the property line, which leaves additional trees inside where the agricultural part is, and can they be taken out of production, or is the fence to take, is it the fence to be there but not to touch any of those trees on the north and east side of the field.
Through the chair to committee, the recommended fencing is intended to be within the severed parcel in order to protect the trees over there and to ensure that there will be no encroachment to the natural heritage features in the future. So the intent is to maintain the natural heritage as a core area, completely separated from the severed parcel.
Yes, I understand that. The other question I have in this situation, if we follow the property line, we have a number of trees. If we build a fence in order to do it, some trees may impede the building of that fence and have to be taken down. Is that the understanding of what that condition states?
Through chair to the committee, there will be no tree removal for these severances, and if I can show you.
I guess what I'm saying, if you try and build a fence through a number of trees that is a natural heritage system, I've got no problem with it, but you will not, at some time, you're going to run into a tree that's right in the middle of the fence and will have to be come down, or you move the fence off the property line to include all those trees. And that's my question, I guess, when it comes down to it.
Through you, Madam Chair, just to add and hopefully answer the question is you know, as I've soon explained, the intent is very clear. It's protection
Yes.
of the trees and the natural heritage feature being the trees. And so the location of the fence would be established in a way that maintains that intent, and the type of fence installed would be mindful of that intent as well, to protect the trees.
Okay, I'm just saying it says it will follow the property line in the condition. Therefore, it's going to be in the area where the trees are. Because if you, I know to the east of that, there's quite a drop off and down in, I'm not sure if that was an old railway line or road or something. And yes, we want to, you know, protect all that. I've got no problem with the protection. It's just I'm trying to logically understand how it will be done. So, all right, thank you.
Any other comments, questions to staff? Member Vamus, please.
Just to add on that, through the chair, just a comment to the committee. I know a couple of years ago when they did the fence around the Brantford Airport, the county land, the city land, like Mr. Hamilton was saying, it zigzags. I mean, they hit a tree and then the fence goes up 3 feet that way and then it comes back. It's all like, it wasn't a straight line. They went around every single fence and it wasn't a straight fence. It just zigzagged like crazy. It's when they had that same issue there. They made the fence and they went around all the trees, so it snakes. It's not straight. If you look at around the Brantford Airport, that's what happened too. Just a comment.
Then I'll ask committee members, where are you considering, like if you look at the aerial view on page 59 of 89, you notice there is the finger of land that comes down to McLean School Road in between the property, the proposed severed lot line, and the existing land. So are you possibly suggesting that the severance be extended to that line? Or is that raising the issue of the old railway line there?
I guess what I'm looking at, I see trees on both sides of that line. If the fence is built to protect the trees, then it comes in, it's not on the property line, it's along the edge of the farm field currently now. And as you go across the north end there, it sort of comes out. So does the fence go straight across or not? And I know it's easy to say build it on the property line. That sounds easy. If anybody's built a fence and tried to have it straight, and
Yes.
as Member Vamus says, or you can accept it being zigzagged, then that's fine. It doesn't matter to me as long, I agree with the, putting the fence in. It's just a matter of where does the fence go?
Then perhaps the applicant or their agent can address it. So are there
Okay.
any more
Yep.
comments at this point for staff? No? Then, Member Schmidt? No? Okay. Then I'll ask, is the applicant or their agent? Okay, thank you.
Good evening, through you, Madam Chair. My name is Chelsea Brooks, and I'm a planner with MHBC Planning here on behalf of the client, Chris Martin. With respect to the question regarding the fence line, my client has advised that there is an existing fence line along the eastern property boundary. It's a page and wire fence that used to separate the residents from the lands to the east and the rail line there. So the new fence would just be along the northern boundary, and that would be built with the intent to reduce impacts to any trees. So if that helps clarify your question.
Member Hamilton, please go ahead.
Through the chair to the applicant, when was this fence built, and in what condition is it in? If they're building new fence, and that it should be done, but I don't know, I'm just asking, if it was built 50 years ago, then it's probably lived its life as a page wire fence, and therefore, maybe the posts, only certain posts need to be replaced, as an example, and the rest of it in a new fence put along it. That would be, versus saying, well, we already got a fence, you don't have to do it. I see it in the conditions that actually there, or unless you're saying you want that taken out on the east side.
I believe what I'm trying to say is that there would be a clear fence line because there's an existing fence there. So if the requirement is to, update that fencing, that could be achieved. But I think the question was whether there would be kind of trees in the way, if it would be uneven. There is kind of a clear fence line to follow.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. If there's any more questions, happy to answer.
Any further comments, questions? Maybe this was a question I should have raised when staff was presenting. I believe we had discussed it about with the removal of, this starts as an undersized farm parcel, and there has been some comments raised about, in the past, we did put a minor variance on the retained parcel to recognize its undersizing of 40 hectares. So perhaps comment can be made to that.
So to you, Chair, under the current official plan, lands involved in a surplus farm dwelling severances related to a farm consolidation must have a minimum of minimum lot size of 19 hectares unless they are being merged with an abutting farm. In this case, the retained parcel is 22.70 hectares, which meets this requirement. Also, under Part 5 of the official plan, Section 2.3.1, we have the policy that when a consent is granted in prime agricultural area, a zoning bylaw amendment is not required to recognize an undersized agricultural parcel as the resulting lot is deemed to comply with the minimum lot area requirements of the zoning bylaw.
And that's because this is 22 hectares.
Yes.
And so it's in the official plan that the reference is the 19 hectares now.
Yes.
Not provincial policy statement.
I believe it is under the OP, right?
Okay.
Official plan.
Okay. Then I will, if there's no questions from the committee at this point, I'll open the public portion of this application. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to it? Public delegation or anyone in chambers? And since there are none, I will close the public portion of this. Then I'll ask committee, are there any final comments, questions? Member Hamilton, please go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair, and I believe maybe more to staff than the applicant, we've received this notice here where a gentleman wants to, it says, I've got intent to put up livestock buildings in the future. If that is true, or has he already got the buildings up? I know there, if you take and look south, south of the front lane, there's two large buildings, maybe half a kilometer away. I don't know if that's what he's planning on, if he owns all that land, or if that was his buildings, or is he planning on that 62 right across that looks to be, I don't know, 25 or 30 acres. He's planning on putting a barn up there. If he's going to put a barn up there, then he would need to do MDS on that before he had any construction. So that's why I'm asking on that. So this application surplus has nothing to do with what he may do in the future. But if he does have barns and he wants to put cattle into them, that's a different situation. So that's my question. Those big buildings that we see down, are they actually the barns that belong to this individual? And is that where he's going to put his cattle? Or do you know of anything coming up from a building perspective in planning that says that he wants to put another barn up for these cattle? I'm just trying to understand you, and I'm not sure what he's saying here. So.
Through the chair to Member Hamilton, so as the dwelling is an existing dwelling, there would be no change in the MDS requirements. I mean, if any abutting property owners wants to build a barn, the situation would be the same as it is today, because they require to, calculate the minimum distance separation, and the dwelling is existing. There is no change to the location of the dwelling. There is no new uses on the property. So as long as there will be no barn on the same property, there is no concern regarding, the future situation for other properties, because the process would be the same as it is today, as the dwelling is an existing structure.
Yes, I know that. It's more him trying to build the barn. He would need to do the MSDS. And that if he has to build it, but if those other barns are there, then he can go ahead. So I think he's just trying to notify the county that, in the future, yes, I'm here. So that's all I'm asking. I'm just, it's a little unclear in his letter. So that was, and he's not here tonight to ask that question, so.
Then I'd only comment with staff, that's not part of normal conditions, that we would add a condition to recognize a future problem, a potential future problem.
Through you, Madam Chair, that's correct, and I interpret the letter as I have considerations. I have the ability to expand or introduce a livestock operation here, so future landowners at this specific address should be aware that I can do that, and then he would be subject to all the standard, best farm practices and minimum distance separation for whatever type of livestock and how much he has.
Because whether the house were severed or not, MDS has to be met if tomorrow a permit comes in or an application. Is that correct?
Through you, Madam Chair, that is correct.
All right, thank you. No, I'm just wanting some clarification on that, and I totally agree with what's been reported here.
So then, are there any further comments, questions for staff or the agent?
Through the chair, if it's possible, I would like to add a note regarding the fencing situation. I'm not sure if the committee members can see this slide right now.
Sure. Can you put it on our screens?
So I just wanted to add that the natural heritage boundary shown on this map is approximate and does not reflect the actual conditions on the ground. And the natural heritage boundary is not a straight line. The solid green line shown on the on this slide is more closely reflects the real conditions on the site. So there are a few trees near the proposed severance line that may appear to fall within the severed parcel based on the map. However, through the recommended conditions of approval, staff are satisfied that the proposal will not negatively impact the core natural heritage features. Also, it is important to note that this structure already encroaches to the natural heritage features, as you can see on this photo, and it will be relocated to be outside of the natural heritage features.
Member Hamilton?
Just to make an understanding here, the fence is supposed to go on the property lines of the retained part. It's not to go between the severed and retained part, to my knowledge, or is it to come across the back of the house on as well? Because that's no longer, that's in the agricultural and natural heritage area of the farm. It's not, if you look on page, I'm looking on page 59, which is a little farther along there, it's not talking about putting a fence around the severed part, it's talking about putting it around the retained part on both the east and north side. So I agree with your picture there, there's encroachment and things like that, but that's not what the condition states on the thing. It's not behind the severed part of the property, it's along the retained part. Am I right on that?
Through the chair, the committee member, we can definitely work on that condition to ensure that the fencing would be on the severed parcel and protect the trees in the future. Is that what you're looking for?
Okay, I guess my condition, I think they want to protect the trees that are currently there in the natural heritage area on the retained part, because they don't want it encroached and losing more of those trees, versus along the back here, that's already, you know, it's already there, unless your intention is to cover off all the trees that are in the area and not have them exposed to the farming operations. So I'm just trying to
And
understand the
I'll
area covered off.
I'll put a suggestion. Would you rather see condition 7 be reworded to recognize that your concern is regarding the retained parcel, if I'm following you correctly?
Okay, okay, then I'm misunderstood. I was thinking it was the retained parcel that was to be fenced. What you're saying is it's the severed parcel. What's retained and what's severed here? Are we severing the house?
Severed is the house,
So,
retained
okay,
is the
you're
farm.
talking about that. All right, then I was thinking the other way. It was the retained area that you were concerned about losing any of the natural heritage area. So, okay, my mistake. Yes, I fully understand now.
Thank you.
Member Smith, did you have a comment on that? No? Okay, thank you. And with that diagram on, or aerial view, I'm asking for farm entrance. There is another lane, because that to the east of the proposed severed line, that would definitely not be used for a farm entrance, right? Because that's where it's treed. Your diagram you had up, you showed there was 13.1 meters from the edge of the proposed severance to the existing property line.
Just to clarify, you are asking about the narrow strip of the
Yes,
lot?
that narrow
on the-
strip. I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious as to why that was left instead of the north boundary being brought all the way to the side, the eastern property line. Then we wouldn't have this fencing discussion.
Right, because to your chair, because under the official plan, we have a policy that prohibits a severance happen to natural heritage designation, and this lot configuration is a result of protecting the natural heritage feature and not encroaching to that feature.
So you're saying that the severed portion has 0 heritage features on it?
Through your chair, I cannot say 0, but there might be 2 or 3 trees on the proposed severance line. However, I believe through the survey and reference plan, we can ensure that no trees will be within the severed parcel, I mean the surplus farm dwelling.
Okay, thank you. Member Smith, you have your hand up.
Through the chair, just to the committee, I think we're getting a little bit caught up in the trees. The natural heritage feature is the actual big grouping of trees that is, you can actually see it on the aerial. It's not just specific trees. It's called the natural heritage feature because it's that larger environmental area. So my understanding from the comments is that fence and where the actual severed new property line will be is to at least protect that larger treed area as much as possible. Not so much the individual trees. I thought it maybe was just beneficial to say that once we actually read through some of the comments there. So just food for thought.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions on this application? Then I'll ask, is the committee prepared to make a motion recognizing condition 7 is okay as worded, I'm assuming after all the discussion, and there was a suggestion by Member Hamilton to add the condition for the firefighting fee, and the suggestion from Member Smith to add the condition for the shed removal. Member Smith, are you making the motion?
I'll make a motion.
Please.
I'll make a motion to approve consent application B3325AV as the application meets the intent of the PPS, the official plan, and the zoning bylaw, subject to amended conditions, which would include the relocation of the smaller shed on the property to meet zoning setbacks, the inclusion of potentially the firefighting fee if required. And I think that was the 2 amended conditions.
And
I'll
you
leave it
are
at that.
okay with the wording of condition 7? Thank you.
Yes,
Do we have
thank you.
Do we have a seconder? Member Panag. I'll now take the vote, starting with Member Schmidt,
Yes.
Member Vamus,
Yes.
Member Hamilton,
Yes.
Member Panag. Yes. Member Smith,
Yes.
and Brown, yes. The motion to approve application B3525 AV has carried. That application has now been approved. Thank you. I will now introduce item 5.3 for application B34-25-RF and turn it over to staff for the presentation of the report.
Good evening. I'll be presenting consent application B34-25-RF for a surplus farm dwelling severance at 343 Blue Lake Road, submitted by Trevor Hawkins on behalf of the owner, Chris Martin. Staff is recommending approval of this application subject to the conditions outlined in the report. The subject lands are located north of Blue Lake Road with a frontage of approximately 186 meters along Blue Lake Road and an area of approximately 57 hectares. The subject lands have one single detached dwelling, and the property does contain some natural heritage features mainly identified as woodlands, which are located primarily along the north and west sides of the site. The surrounding area is primarily farmland, natural heritage uses to the north, south, and west, and low-density residential to the east. Subject lands are currently serviced by a private well and septic system. Subject lands are designated as agriculture and natural heritage system and zoned agricultural A, agricultural with site-specific provision A-184, and natural heritage NH. This consent application proposes to sever a surplus farm dwelling with a frontage of approximately 52 meters and an area of approximately 0.4 hectares, with the remaining retained parcel having a minimum frontage of 135 meters and an area of approximately 56 hectares. The retained parcel will be used or remain as farmland. A previous consent application, B75-21-SL, to sever the same surplus farm dwelling was approved by committee in 2022 rather than by council as indicated in the report. However, the consent was not finalized within the required 2-year timeframe and has since lapsed, which is why this new application is before you today. As part of that previous approval, the retained parcel was rezoned to agricultural with a special exception, A-184, through the zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 7-22-SL. This special exception prohibits a dwelling on the retained parcel and recognizes a minimum lot frontage of 135 meters. And because of this previous zoning, no new zoning bylaw amendment will be required as part of this application. Through circulation to commenting agencies and review of this application, it has been determined that the proposed surplus farm dwelling severance is due to farm consolidation, and although the original application lapsed 2 years ago, it continues to meet current official plan policies. The dwelling is surplus to the farming operation, and the proposed severed lot can accommodate the house, access, and the well and septic system, while the structure shown on the image before you has been removed. The retained farm parcel is appropriately zoned to prohibit a dwelling. A road widening of approximately 5.2 meters and the removal of the existing interconnection lane is required between the severed and retained lands and have been added as conditions of approval. Notice of this application was circulated by mail on February 25th to all property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands. In accordance with the Planning Act, a site visit was conducted on February 27, 2026, and the public notice sign was posted on the property on February 25, 2026. No public comments have been received up to date. It is my professional opinion that the proposed consent application to sever approximately 0.4 hectares for a surplus farm dwelling conforms with the Planning Act, the provincial planning statement, the County of Brant official plan, and the zoning bylaw. The retained parcel was previously rezoned, so no new zoning bylaw amendment is required. And based on this, I am recommending that consent application B 34-25-RF be approved, subject to the conditions outlined in the report. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxana, for the presentation. I'll now ask committee, do you have any questions for staff on this matter? Member Hamilton?
Through the chair to staff, looking at condition number 4, I'm looking for maybe an explanation on that, if you could help me out, please.
Through the chair, condition number 4 requires a 5.2 meter road widening along the frontage of the severed and retained lands. The engineering comment on page 7 does clarify compensation for the widening along the retained parcel if it remains zoned agricultural at the time the reference plan is submitted. We can amend the wording if committee would like it to be clearer.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions from committee to staff? I have a question regarding the point under the background area of page 3 of 19. It's noted that in the previous application, there was a zoning bylaw amendment of A-184 brought in to, which would, it sounds in that paragraph that it's essentially the same as A9, but I thought A-184 was mainly to recognize the failure to meet the frontage requirement. So how does A-184 parallel A9?
Through you, Chair. So this zoning application or zoning bylaw amendment application does recognize the frontage, and because we're able to add, I guess you could say, more, I don't want to say deficiencies, if that's the correct way to say it, in one application, that's why it's A-184 as opposed to A-9, because it also recognizes the lot frontage that is 135 meters, as well as prohibiting the new dwelling.
So A-184 basically is an overall zoning which would cover off A9?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. And then I had a question on condition 5, that the applicant has to remove the existing interconnection lanes between the retained and severed parcel. When I look at it, there's only one driveway in, and so are you proposing that he has a new driveway for the land to access with farm equipment?
Through you, Madam Chair, there is an existing entrance to the farm parcel and to the severed parcel. I think this was more based on aerial imagery that we saw that there appeared to be an interconnection lane that was from the entrance from the severed parcel that would go into what is now going to be the retained parcel. And so we added the condition just to ensure that it is removed, so that the severed surplus dwelling and the farm parcel remain functionally separate.
And then I noted the stake at the back of the house. It seems, I thought I saw a measurement, but it's quite a distance from what I thought it would be. I thought basically the severed north boundary would be not too far a distance from the end of the house wall, you know, going with the setbacks required. So was it put out that far to meet a minimum lot size for the severed portion?
Through you, Madam Chair, I know right now the severed parcel or the proposed severed parcel is approximately 0.46 meters, and that is the minimum required for that severed parcel itself. But the applicant is also here. Maybe they can shed a bit more light on that.
Yeah. It's just that, to me, it was a ways out into the crop land. Okay. Any other comments, questions for staff? Then I will ask, is the applicant or their agent present and wish to add to the staff report?
Hi, through you, the chair. My name's, again, Chelsea Brooks, here on behalf of Chris Martin. Happy to answer any questions if you want to restate that one.
Are there any questions from committee members? Member Smith, do you have any questions, comments? No? Then I guess there are none. Then I will open the public portion of this application. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to it? No delegations online. And since there are none, we will now close the public portion of this application. So I will request the committee to put forth a motion. Member Panay, can you please go ahead?
I'd like to make a motion that application B34-25-RF to be approved, subject to the attached conditions to this report.
And your reasoning?
Well, the existing farm is surplus to the needs of the farming operation. Retained parcel was rezoned and approved by the zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 7-22-SL. And it's minor variance, so based on all this, should be approved.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Member Schmidt, I'll now call the vote, starting with Member Schmidt.
Yes.
Member Vamus?
Yes.
Member Hamilton?
Yes.
Member Penag?
Yes.
Member Smith?
Yes.
And Brown, yes. Motion to approve application B3425RF has carried. That application has now been approved. We will now move on to item 6 for the next meeting date, which is, oh, I thought that came at the end. Oh, sorry. We'll now move to item 6 for other business. And do you want the public present still? That's okay.
Thank you through the chair. Staff just wanted to advise the committee that a notice of appeal has been received from the applicant with respect to committee's decision for minor variance application A27-25-LK for 77 Tom Brown Drive, which proposed a parking reduction. Staff will process the appeal and the matter will proceed through the Ontario Land Tribunal. Any further decisions will be determined through the tribunal process. Thank you.
So there is nothing we do on that. Thank you. Then we will now move to item 7 for the next meeting date to be scheduled on April 16th, 2026. And again, will be a hybrid meeting starting at 6 p.m. So I will now request a motion and seconder to adjourn the meeting. Member Hamilton, is there a seconder? Member Vamus, can I please have the motion?
Moved by myself, seconded by Member Vamus, that the Committee of Adjustment meeting for March the 12th, 2026 be adjourned.
All those in favor, please raise your hands. I now declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you.